checked. I was there for the repeater a couple days back. Oh, I was HD. Lack of cables and stuff to hook up. Anything myself. Going back yesterday with a D700, so I get 25 plus watts into it with a bird meter that it was showing the 1.48 change to water. SWR was respectful. That's about all I know right now. We've got a game plan we won't tell you about it tonight. Well, like you said, I did run the same test. It's at my house on the workbench, and there was absolutely zero coming out of this thing. Trying to load all the different powers and everything, and I took it all apart as far as I could, or safely could. And this thing has 18 million screws just to get into it, and then get to the pilots. I never even saw the pilots. They're underneath, of course. You got to pull for it. And it also has about 10, 15 screws in it. Plus, on the internet, I did see pictures of the pilots. And I'm not sure I need to try to do that. I do have a air solver, but as big as this was, I've had to heat it up so bad that I'm afraid that'll burn up. I'm not an expert in this type of solver. But anyway, so it needs to be set off. One option that we're trying to look at is the upgrade program. This is the DR1 1X, and they used to have an upgrade program to upgrade to DR2, which is a little better. It's more complex and everything has more features to it. But I'm not sure they're still doing the program. I can see it on my phone where there's a link to 2022 upgrade program. And but it doesn't really go where I want it to go. So we'll have to find out if it's still used to. I think it only cost about $700. But ultimately, it'd be great if I could get this program going and do that. Problem with sending it off, I don't know. Let me tell you, I have an FTM 400. I sent it off back in a little while back, but it took 4 months to get it back. Okay, well there you go. And I just hope I never get back. It's $50 repair. So anyway, when I have some more news, we'll be discussing some more options and everything. We did see where there is a new DR2, the only one out there that we can find, and it's $1,700. 1890. But anyway, that's kind of the story at this point. Anyway, that's about all I have to say at this point, and I'll keep you updated on any changes. What we do.
Any questions? For Barry? A2, yeah. So he asked, for those of you on Zoom, in case you can't hear, that is, the A2 is our main repeater that we typically say. Of course, the W4BS system has quite a few repeaters, obviously, that we have. We jumped to the 443-700 for a little while. We used the 443-200. We used the 146.625 repeater. So, kind of depending on the issues, we were trying to kind of find the one that works. And so a lot of the ones, like, we would switch and we might have good service, but then the coverage might not be, like, it might be harder for folks to get in or different things. So,
I did forget to say that, for the 18 repeater, there's a strong chance we're gonna have to hire a climber to go up there and, once we figure out what we need to do.
Carolyn, it's hard to hear. Mary Jane, it's hard to hear.
okay. So he was just saying that for the A2 repeater, it may be, we may have to hire a climber to fix that issue. So I guess with everything, you know, hang tight, and as we have news, we'll let everybody know. All right, so we're gonna try. So
When did he say that 443-700 would be back on?
when did you say that the
Or did he?
443 it's fixed? Or, we do not have a time yet for that. All right, so one thing is that if we are on the 146.625 repeater, it is capable to handle Echolink. And so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time diving into everything about Echolink, but John, KN4BVH, said that he'd be happy to kind of just go over some of the basics. So this is going to be good. If you cannot get into the 625 repeater, I know I can't with the way my current setup is, but I can sit there on my phone connected to internet and log in through Echolink and connect that way. So John's going to kind of discuss a few just the basics of Echolink. If you have any questions, we can handle a few now, but in-depth questions, we could probably get you an email address for somebody to go over later. So John.
Yeah, actually, the main thing that I wanted to discuss was, and I'm not 100% sure if it was Echolink causing this, but when I called the net Saturday night, I was getting several. As a matter of fact, the whole group was nothing. I had no audio. All I would hear was the courtesy tone at the end. And what I suspect was that the PTT on Echolink is trying to think how to phrase it. It's not momentary like a normal PTT. So if you're new to Echolink and you don't use it a lot, don't hold down the PTT. You just tap the microphone button and it turns it on. You'll see it go to transmit, and then you tap it again to turn it off. If you hold it down, it'll flip back and forth. And that's really what I suspect was happening. I heard it happen again last night on last night's net as well. So just something to be mindful of. And you know, there may have been some other issue that I didn't know, but it happened a lot on Saturday night where we had numerous people trying to check in, and there was literally no audio. All I would hear, and no static either. It would just be a courtesy tone. So you could tell they were trying to get in, but absolutely no audio.
John,
All right.
John,
Go
this is KM4FYR.
Yeah.
I tried to get in on a ICOM ID52, which is a pretty decent hand talkie,
Yeah.
and was not able to make it in. I was one of those guys who you heard the tone, but you didn't hear any voice.
Okay, so it may be something
So-
different than Echolink. That was just
Yeah.
my suspicion that it was because of the linking. So Yeah, but there was zero audio.
All right, and then for those who don't know, Echolink, it can be accessed computer and a cell phone app, right? Do you mind telling a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's an app for it on your phone. Let me see. I have too many things on my phone. But that's basically what the home screen. I don't know if you guys are going to see my mess here. But that's what it looks like. It's got a section for locations, repeaters, links. You can add your favorite, the repeaters you access the most into your favorites, so that you don't have to scroll through. When you go, if you search by locations, it'll start off with North America, and then you go down to United States, and then it breaks it down into the areas. Like area 1, 2, 3, most of us are in 4, some of us are in 5. And so if I select 4, I can then scroll down. Let's see if I can get to W4BS. It's going to be close to the bottom. There, W4BS R. I don't know if you can see that on there.
Yes, you can.
So hit that, click connect, and it then says, welcome to All-Star Node 48342, Echolink Node W4BS-R. And you are at that point ready. There's also a PC app that you can install on your computer if you want to do it that way. It works much the same way. There's like a tree structure to it that for finding your repeaters that you want to use. Let's see if I can bring it up here.
While you're looking at that, there was a question in the chat that asked if there was a charge. It is a free app.
Yeah, it's
least
totally free.
So
Totally free. So let me see if it'll let me share my screen. And maximize this. Everybody can see this okay? So when you install it on your PC, this is the main screen that it looks at. And over here on the left, it's got the locations like I was talking about. So North America, United States, here's all your areas. As you can see, I've got it listed to my favorites, and right here, the number 2 on the list. I guess it does them. I'm not sure how it sorts them, but WBS4-R, same thing. And I don't know if you could hear the tone on that or not, but when I just connected down here, it says connected, and the space bar is your PTT to actually transmit on that. And you can actually stop your connection by clicking this little red X in the upper left, and you'll get another tone. So that's pretty much it. It's really, really simple to use and very convenient when you're not near a radio. So
yes, that's true. And something to keep in mind, I feel like we talk about this every time we talk about the repeaters, or we talk about, severe weather or anything like that. But, I know it's not ideal, especially when we get into these situations where we have to kind of bounce around from repeater to repeater. And Barry and Rick and everybody has done a phenomenal job of working on that and everything. But this is great practice for if something bad actually happened. We're not going to have a heads up most of the time. It's going to kind of happen before we realize it. So for me, I know, kind of like I said, I have trouble getting into the 625 repeater, and I did not have Echolink until we got on the 625 repeater, and it kind of encouraged me to download the app and give it a go. And now I love using that when I can. So there's a lot more flexibility to when I can check in. Of course, it's also good, to take this time that you might need to make adjustments to your station at home. or your mobile station, you might realize that you've got better coverage than you thought with your handheld. So it's just a great time. You know, you can look at the positives and see it as a way to encourage you to kind of do a little more or really test your system out. So do we have any more questions? Any questions about EchoLink? Okay. All right. Joe, if you are good to go, I know you've probably got a couple of announcements for us.
Yes, the Delta Club technician class, it looks like we'll have 6 testing Thursday night. Have a review and then testing. So that'll be going on. I don't know if we'll have a technician class starting in September or not. That's very questionable. I know we'll get a general class, probably start the first part of November, and then an extra class in January, and then another tech class to the middle to the end of February is the usual sequence that cycle that we do. Then going over to the Huntsville Ham Fest, we have, I believe, 28 on the bus as we speak. I'm hoping that we'll get a couple of more Thursday night when the hams test and get their license and want to come ride on the bus to Huntsville. It's August the 20th. There are still seats open, $95. It includes the transportation, the $15 entry fee to the Ham Fest, 2 Danvers breakfast biscuits of chicken, ham, sausage, or plain. We have water, sodas, cookies, and crackers on the way down during the day, and whatever's left over on the way back. The bus backs up to the loading dock to where you're very close to all of the activity. You can get your purchases, bring them to the bus so you don't have to carry them around all day. We leave Germantown Baptist Church at 6:30 in the morning, getting down to the Von Braun Center about 9:45, leaving after the 4 o'clock prize drawing about 4:15, 4:20, getting back about 8 or 8:15. If you're wanting to go, make a check payable to Delta Amateur Radio Club and send it to my home QTH. I'm good in QRZ. And we will need to have that get confirmation that you're going by Wednesday, a week from Wednesday, so we can order sandwiches and have all the food and everything needed for the trip. That's all, I think, on Huntsville. Any questions that I can answer? I think that's it, Mary Jean.
All right, well, thank you. All right, and then the other announcement I had, I spoke with Fred today. And so we talked last month about the possibility of doing a CPR class, an adult CPR class, and some of the other hams in the area to kind of let us do kind of a collaborative event outside ham radio, but that still would contribute to a lot of what we do. And so the tentative date for that CPR class that will be through Germantown Fire Department is September 17th. So we've still got to confirm that with Germantown Fire Department, as well as what time and double check the location and all that. So we're probably going to wait until the next meeting in September to actually start taking down names and phone numbers. But if you are interested in that CPR class, it is going to be September 17th, more than likely. Again, we'll confirm that later. And then for those of you who were not here last month on the meeting, what we're doing is that by going through Germantown Fire Department, more than likely we can get the class where You can take the class for free. If you want your certification card, and I believe those are good for 2 years, that their cost, it should be around $10 or less. So if you sign up through Red Cross online, it's gonna cost probably $100 for you to do that class and get your certification card. And it might be a little less, but I know it's a lot more than $10. So, so if you're interested in that, again, September 17th, then we'll get more information out. I don't know yet. So as soon as we get a time from the Germantown Fire Department, I'll share that and let everybody know. And then something else that I guess it depends on kind of what time it will be and all that, but we might could even see if folks wanted to get together to eat before or after or something. So, so we'll get more information out by next month. All right, so I know we're going to make some more, we're going to discuss the 2 other upcoming events, the Rock and Ride 150 and the Bluff City Blues, after our break. But are outside of those 2 events, are there any other announcements that we need to go over before break? Anybody on Zoom? Great question. So Rick asked, do we have any field day results and numbers?
Yes, we sent them out to all of the people that were leading the teams. I don't have them right offhand. Let me see if I can get them.
Is that the total for what was turned into ARRL, Joe?
What was that? I didn't hear it.
Do you have the totals for what was turned into ARRL?
Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can bring it up.
All right, so there, while you're looking for that, there was a question if the CPR will include AED usage. Let's see. Yes, that should be. So, thank you, Scott.
A total of 656 contacts.
Here, Joe, Steve's got it.
Here's what Joe was ready to look for. I sent him an email, kind of recapping that. We had a total of 656 contacts. 114 were phone, 460 were digital, and 82 were CW. Included in that one person, you got 1 contact on satellite. He was the one that got it. Hey, Rick, get that?
There's field day now up. You want me to go through it?
That includes 1 person, got 1 contact on satellite. Thank you.
Mary Jane, do you see it?
Yeah, it's a little hard. It's small, but I can try to read through. So if you want to scroll back up to the top, or well, I guess the top of the numbers. So the call sign used W4EM, the go to station was W4BS. We had 47 participants, and the club group name, Memphis Clubs, Delta, Mara, Neshoba, and Aries. Power sources, generator, power multiplier was 2 times. Preliminary total score, 3,728. Bonus points, 100% emergency power, 400. Media publicity, 100. Documented by Germantown Media article. Public location, 100 points. Public information table, 100 points. W1AW field day message, 100 points. Natural power QSOs completed, 100 points. Safety officer, 100. Social media, 100. Satellite QSO, 100. Thank you, Rick. Go to station 40. Entry submitted via web, 50. And total bonus points, 1,290. The score summary, let's see, total QSOs, well, there's some other things, but, yeah, and then here's the breakdown, Dan, mode, QSO. So, I get, because those are the points, correct? Joe?
Yeah. No, those are the contacts.
Oh,
So many
contact.
contacts.
And then I take it the 2 rows in the middle are digital, and then the 2 on the far right are phone.
You have QSO, power, digital QSOs, power, and phone QSOs and power.
So we've got quite a few on 40 meters and 20 meters, of course, but everything contributes and adds up to it. So even 25 on GOTA. All right, well, thank you. All right, well, we're going to, is there anything else before we take a short break? Okay, so if you're on Zoom, feel free to kind of chat and hang out for about 5 to 10 minutes, probably really close to 8 to 10 minutes. And then everybody in person, like I mentioned earlier, if you have not paid your dues yet this year, please go see Jim. If you haven't signed in yet, we've got the sign-in rosters over there. So we are going to take a, well, we'll just say 10-minute recess and reconvene at 7:44.
Tom, have you been getting a lot of storms, KN4SLP?
Tom?
Yes, Joe, we've gotten tons. We went about three weeks of just nothing but brutal weather. I mean, you know, every day, 97, 98 index, 80, you know, 104, 105. And then finally we got some rain, and boy, when it hit, it just came down in buckets for days, for about 3 or 4 days. And today it rained since 5 o'clock this morning until about noon, but it was just a good rain just for the, you know, for the lawn and stuff like that. Yeah, we've got our share.
We got ours this afternoon. I got held up getting home because of traffic lights out.
Boy, how does the Wolf River look like?
I didn't cross the Wolf River. We
Okay.
went south, so.
Okay. Yeah, it's been tough. It's been really tough. You guys sound like you had a pretty good field day.
Well, it was hot.
Yes.
Very
I
few
was-
people wanted to come out in the heat.
Yeah, we had the same problem. Really hot. Really
It was
hot.
it was 100 degrees, and
Yeah.
actually I felt more hot Sunday because of the humidity was about 20 or 30 points higher Sunday than it was Saturday.
Boy.
Even though it was only 95 degrees, the humidity was quite high. And Saturday it was 100 degrees, but the humidity was like 50, 55.
Well, that's tough. I know
And
it.
we had rain and shut down at 10:30 because of lightning right in the immediate area.
We never had to shut down, but it was hot. And boy, putting those antennas up was really hot. Friday, ooh, that was hot. Really hot.
We didn't put antennas up until Saturday.
Oh.
What was your class station?
Uh,
How many antennas up?
4.
So you were 3 alpha?
Yes, 3 alpha. Yes. Yeah, we had one really long wire, then we had a G5 RV, I think 2 of them, and then I helped the guy put up a vertical on a stand, and we had he was working, I think, 20 and 40. And then we also had a 2-meter if we needed it on there. So it worked out pretty good. Some people were working electric power, some battery. He was using solar. And then we had a generator. Boy, it was a hot day. We had some good people come out to find out what's going on and look around, stuff like that on the GODA and stuff like that. Probably not a lot of action, not as much as action you guys saw on that, that's for sure.
What was that? We only had 5 visitors.
Oh, that's about the same as us, about the same as them, yeah. We had a lady drive up, she was, she had just got her technician, and she was the only one in the family that wanted to do anything, that was licensed, and she drove up from Fort Smith just to get up here to see one, see the,
Oh,
yeah, she was really excited about it.
I'm surprised Fort Smith didn't have a field day.
I'm surprised too, that's a pretty good size area, but yeah, they didn't. At least not that I know of.
So did you do it in Pea Ridge or where?
No, we did it over in Bella Vista.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did it.
You live in Bella Vista or Pea Ridge?
I live in Pea Ridge.
Another username and another email. And they got one I got that posted up
No,
there.
I had to take over, use I finally put up a end-fed half wave, and it's about I don't know, 10, 15 feet off the ground to the end, and that's probably the length of the property. And boy, I tell you what, it's surprisingly good.
Good.
Not as good as the G5 RV, I think, but surprisingly good. And then because of the HOAs, I have my 2-meter up in the attic of the garage, which works pretty good, but I couldn't figure out how to get it over to the house through a pass-through. So I was in the garage in the winter, froze my butt off, and then the summer, burning my butt off. So finally, I figured out a way to get it through to the pass. And I don't know why I didn't see it earlier, but it worked out. It's working out really well. So yeah, things are falling into place.
And then with this other one, they were talking California, Colorado. And he said, well, it was like Echolink satellite. So they talked about some satellite thing. But it's like every Monday at around 8 o'clock or something, same time as ours. And but I checked in, and the guy that he made the comment that he used to live in Chattanooga, he thought it was there being here in Texas. But he was some DJ, he could type fast, and the procedure was to give you full call sign twice. Well, he was keying it in, and he knew Bill Williams when he called his next on the list is KK4BPS Bill. And so he already looked me up, so he knew where I was, but he wanted to verify and then how you get into their system. And I told him I'm just talking to a repeater. It was 1-4 or something. It's downtown Dallas. If they had the stuff hooked up, but it was clear as a bell. And I'm gonna go try to get it again. You're talking all over the United States from my little handheld or my mobile and stuff. But that was new to me.
Well, hey, Daryl,
Is that the one that's called?
yes, that's the one I've got. And it's free to download, and like, it took me a minute to kind of figure out, like, you have to search.
Is there a YouTube on it?
Yeah, that's why I always check everything.
There probably is.
I check everything, no matter what. My car's over 80. Google.
So, like, what I did is I looked for the statements.
Carolyn, or I'm sorry, not Carolyn. Mary Jean, can you silence at Allendale? Thank you. Now we have a little silence. Anybody have any questions about the bus trip? Anybody want to go on it? Be glad to have you sign up. Ken, K4DIT, glad to see you on. Hadn't seen you in a couple of months, I don't believe. Ray, KJ4SBC, are you there? Alan, AE4RX, are you there?
Yeah, Joe, I'm here.
You want to tell us a little what's going on in West Memphis?
Oh, we've been trying to grow the club. You know, we get one or two more people every other month, and lately we got one of our repeaters linked to, I think, Olive Branch and Tipton County, as well as the Helena system, and we're trying to leave that one linked all the time now. The one, I think it's the one in Crawfordsville.
Oh, okay.
And then that's the 2-meter one. And
That's on Yazoo digital only.
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
It is.
yeah, yeah.
I saw it in operation this afternoon at Bobby's house. So
Okay, okay.
Tipton County, Tipton County group hadn't gotten on yet, but West Memphis, Helena, and Olive Branch are on it, but
And-
on the digital side only. You cannot hear it on the analog side.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, so it has already been 10 minutes, so if you can make your way back to your seats and we'll get started and hopefully get everybody out of here pretty quick. Oh, no. Zoom, are you guys still with us?
Yes, we are.
We got a notification that said it just quit, so.
Your PowerPoint startup is still there.
All right. You see the PowerPoint now?
Yeah, we've seen it all along. Now it's up. Recording is stopped. You got full screen now. Mary Jean, no audio. You're muted. You're still muted.
All right. Goodness, we'll get there. Well, I may just leave it up like this and see, because we seem to be having issues. So can you hear me and see the
I
screen now?
hear you. Audio.
Okay. So no. Okay. Well, I'm gonna.
I can see the screen and hear you.
Oh, okay. So you can see it now. All right. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. There you go.
Hey, folks, those of you who know me, Daryl. Those who don't, it's Daryl, KK4D. Those who don't know me, I spent 35 years on the police department and retired last June, and took a little job with the county, and I don't know what I'm gonna babysit inmates anymore, so I'm not working, which I don't think retired people should work anymore. I got spoiled. So what I do is coordinate the MS 150. It's a rocking bike ride. It's a bicycle ride. A lot of people, when you say bike ride, they're thinking motorcycle, but it's not motorcycles, it's bicycles. There's a number of folks here and on Zoom. How y'all Zoom folks?
Hello.
I did get used to that Zoom thing. I didn't like it when we were doing it at the precinct, but anyway, a lot of you have worked the MS 150 with me, and those who hadn't probably should. You know, it's a good thing to do. I see a lot of faces that've been there, Barry and Pat and Dennis. You know, it's just like Bill and Steve. Joe was up there. Joe contacted me, wanted to know. I usually in July get with the club and start saying we're going to do it, we're not going to do it. Last year in 2020, we didn't. They just canceled it. It wasn't going to go because they stay in a hotel down in Tunica, and then nobody was doing that in 2020 in September. And then 21, we started getting ready, and I kind of postponed it a little while. I wouldn't say anything about it 21 because they didn't know if they were going to do it or not. So they finally started. I started to get folks ready, and before we did it, they canceled it, you know, because in 21 they started a little COVID uptick and all that stuff. I don't know if it's uptick more now than then, but anyway. So started talking to them back in June, really, and they were starting to do their plans, and they're planning on doing the event. Some of you worked this when they had 500 riders. Not even close to that now. It's dropped off to very, very few. You know, different reasons, but it's not a lot. It's not as big event as it was, but it's still a fundraiser for the MS Society. And as long as I've been with Delta, we have supported all the public service events that we could. Lost a few, but anyway, so this year, the MS 150 Rock and Bike Ride is a little different than it has been in the past, because this year, they're not going to Tunica. They're not going down to the Gold Stripe. I think one of the issues is one Gold Stripe may have been sold, but they're not giving MS a break on the hotel rooms and stuff like that. So if you are doing fundraisers, you know, you want really low overhead. And what's happening is their overhead is going to be way up, because $400 a night for 300-400 people is, they can't really do it. So, and it's different on another thing, that they're not going down there, but they're going to start at Landers Center, like they have been in the past few years. They're going to go out and come back to Landers Center on both Saturday and Sunday. The ride is the 10th and 11th of September. So they have 3 routes each day, a 30-mile, a 50-mile, and a 75-mile. So Saturday and Sunday, you get 75, that's your 150, where that came from. So a lot of times what will happen is people will start with intentions to go 75 miles, and they find the turnoff to the 30-mile route and come back, or they pick us up. So what we do, the ham operators, they have rest stops along the way. This year there's 5 rest stops. I usually try to get 2 people for each rest stop. So, you know, somebody can listen to the radio, and you don't have to be nonstop on it. And it used to be where AutoZone would provide a truck, and we would put a ham in the truck, and that was a SAG truck. So supply in here. I had to figure out a couple of years. I said, what is SAG? So what they do basically was ride the route, and if you have somebody that has a breakdown, or they have a they get tired, or they get injured or something, they take that person in their bike to the next rest stop, or some of them just like, I'm ready to go gamble, so we would go all the way down. So sometimes we went out all the way. That was a good ride. We went 20 miles. Let's go. So anyway, so this year I still need 2 for each rest stop, and I need some people that have like a SUV or something that you can put a bike in and put a person in and do the SAG, because AutoZone is not participating now either. So I usually ride the route. In the past, Steve and Rosalinda would ride the back, and then there was a couple of us that went in between. The other position we have basically would be net control. So we run a net, and we're using the 14691, the tri-state repeater down in Mando. I talked to Tim, and he said it's up and running really good. And the last time we checked, you could actually hit that repeater on a handheld from Tunica. So they put the antenna about 150 feet up on a tower in Hernando. So it works really well. I asked him if that's changed, and he said, no, it has not changed. 14691. Joe got with me, and he put something in the spark. Did y'all see the announcement that Joe put out? Well, most of that's good. What I need, like I said, if you're interested in it and you've done it before, just tell me you want to do it again. I got your information, unless you change it. If you've not done it before and you're interested, just give me a name and a phone number. I'll call you and go over everything that you can be interested in. Other than that,
SUVs or SAG, or what about like if somebody's new? What kind of equipment do they need for that race?
Well, since they fixed that repeater, your handheld will work pretty much anywhere in it. If you got a mobile in the car, it's just more convenient with the mobile in the car and whatnot. But that's just it. You put a bike in the back of a pickup truck, and whoever's riding it, put them in the truck. Most of the time, they just ride in the back of their bike. I probably would too, if I had a $5,000 bicycle and put it in the back of the truck, I'd probably ride in the back and hold it up. That's what they usually do. I had to ask a guy one time, he's like, don't touch that. I said, okay, that's fine. He said, it was $5,000. I said, oh, thanks a lot. Yeah. But, yeah, we've actually had some guys that had motorcycles, that had a mobile on a motorcycle. They rode around with us. We've had some of the people that work with MS, the workers there, coordinators. We put a radio in their car and had an operator with one of the ones that was working it. And we actually had one that just put a radio in the car so they could hear it. I thought it might use it, and they didn't. But anyway, if that's something they're interested in, give me a name, a number. If you have done it before, just give me a thumbs up and I'll put you down. Joe, you got any questions?
No?
Okay. I figured I'd pass it with you. You keep up with me about as good as anybody else. Thank y'all.
Anybody on Zoom want to volunteer for the MS 150? I'll take your name and phone number down.
All right, so if you can go back one, or actually go forward, there we go. So the MS 150. Let's see. So I want to, so what we did, everybody, in case you didn't realize, so I emailed Joe the PowerPoint. So he is so graciously opening this because I do not believe I can support Zoom and PowerPoint at the same time. So it seems to be working okay. So thank you, Joe, for doing this. So if you want more information about the general organization, you can go to mssociety.donordrive.com and search, I think, by zip code. But I would say if you're interested, like Daryl said, give Daryl your phone number, or if you're on Zoom, give Joe or punch in the chat your name and phone number. It's a great cause, and it kind of gives you more experience on how to work your equipment, how to work different situations and all that. And it's just nice to get out, especially in September, October. It normally cools off a little bit to where it's enjoyable to be outside. So if it works, Joe, were you able to click on the link of the start of the 2019 ride? Second link, the middle link.
Hold on. This was a Sunday morning from Tunica.
Oh, on the screen share, because we cannot see it. Do you mind sharing the screen?
Hold on.
And so this is a different location, but it just kind of gives you an idea of what a start of a race would look like, I guess.
Okay. Share screen.
And then you might have to do screen share to whatever tab that opened up on internet.
Do you see it now?
I do not.
You do not.
Okay. Well, we can pull that up a little later. The other one coming up is Bluff City Blues Ride, and that is October 8th. So if you're interested in signing up for that, there's a sign-in sheet up front. And then also if you want to comment, kind of like Daryl said, your name and phone number, or your name and call sign, and we get in touch with you a little later. And I'll do more information about that as we get closer. But the Bluff City Blues Ride is 100 miles. And so, so kind of like with that. All right, kind of like with the MS 150, there's going to be different stations. I've got to confirm how many stations we are going to have, but you don't have to have a lot of experience to do this. One thing, I know we're going to have to do a little research on what repeaters we're going to use, but you might be able to use something as simple as a handheld to check in on that. Now, with Bluff City Blues Ride, that goes all the way up through Tipping County, Gilt Edge, Burleson, out through Mason and all that. And I guarantee you cannot hit the repeaters with a handheld out there. So Tom, I know he normally volunteers for this race, and he's one of the ones, or the one that we always get out in Gilt Edge, because he can, he's got a great setup out there, and he can range from the hardest locations. Oh, was it Swamp Stompers? Oh. So that was Swamp Stompers, but some of the stuff, there's different positions that you can go. And so, Joe, do you mind looking to see, it's a fun video, but do you mind looking to see if that 2019 SAG Station 2 video can open up while I'm talking?
The SAG station,
Yeah.
hold on one.
All right. So with Bluff City Blues, it starts, I think,
Did
around
it open
7.
up? I don't
It did not.
I don't think it, no. Hold on, let me see if I can get the link there and then open it.
If not, we won't worry about it. We'll just kind of go on the fly. Yes. All right. So like you said, there's going to be SAG stops. So the Bluff City Blues Ride is a fun one to work because, like at the SAG Station 2, in one of the previous years, they've had somebody do a singing music as an Elvis impersonator. After that race, they'll normally serve up some adult beverages and then feed you really well before you leave. So that race runs from about 7 o'clock, 7:30, give or take, to around 4 o'clock. And a lot of these stations, these races, the way they work is that different stations will shut down at different times. And so our goal as amateur radio operators is that we want to make sure that everybody out there is safe. That's our #1 goal. And the biggest reason why we're involved is because we help with communications where there may not be good service. Sometimes there may be good service on a race that we can help with, but most of the time, especially the Bluff City Blues, especially with Swamp Stompers, we'll get in areas, and I've got screenshots on my phone from where we worked an event, and it literally said no service with Verizon. And Verizon's normally pretty good for this area, but we were able to communicate with each other on radio. One of the stories, I can't remember with, I think it was Swamp Stompers, but you know, we've had folks, with the Bluff City Blues Ride get hit by cars before. We've had some get stung by bees and go into anaphylactic shock. And so if that happens when they're in an area where there's no cell phone service, and we've got somebody there who's driving in a SAG vehicle who can get on the radio and communicate that. We've had some where they weren't able to call out with cell phone service, but they were able to get a hold of one of our guys who called into Net Control on the radio. And then we called with the cell phone 911 to get an ambulance there. So it may seem like a small little thing that we do when we try to push for volunteers, but it can really make a big difference when things go wrong on these races, and we're there to help out with communications. It could honestly be life-saving with what we do and helping to get help there much faster. So some of the things. So if you were to help at a station, Net Control is one of them. I know normally we try to, well, normally there's always going to be somebody with experience at each station. And so we try to pair new people up with experienced folks. So people who have the experience normally provide the equipment and everything. But if you're new to ham radio and you've got, and that's just kind of, I guess, I don't know if wagon or what, but you can kind of see, that's kind of an example. They'll have different things set up at the stations, especially with the bike races, where they can kind of fix some of their gear. They'll have food, drinks, and all that, so that way they can kind of get their energy up and keep going and everything. I think most of the time at the events, we'll have folks who will kind of hang out in their cars. Depending on your setup, you can have a tent there and have your radio station set up as well. So again, this is just a great time for you to test out whether you're running on, whether you're at a facility where you can plug in to the facility, or whether it's something you can run out of your car on a generator or whatever. It gives you different experience to try out different things. But so one of the things that on net control, here's a dead price there. So, but one of the things, I just brought something. So at net control, there's typically a map or something to kind of see. And so you can kind of see some of the sticky notes, and I'll swing this around to Zoom in a minute. But this particular one was for the Bluff City Blues ride. So this shows the different races and the different courses. And so like right here, it comes in and it shows the different SAG stops, the different mile marker points. And so if you work at net control, your responsibility is to kind of know where the first rider is, or the runner, where the last rider or runner is, and also have a rough idea of where your SAG stations are. And so if you're not familiar with it, basically kind of like listening to the net. So they kind of help control what's important and not what's not important. Everybody, each station, they're responsible for making sure that they communicate what's going on. So whether that's as simple as something as simple as knowing what food to order for volunteers for the station, whether that's something serious as kind of like I mentioned earlier, calling in to say, hey, net control, we've got an emergency, somebody's going into shock, then that's something net control could push aside all other traffic to handle the emergency. So kind of like a net control or a net, an air traffic controller. They can kind of control the flow and how everything goes. You might get a packet that kind of has you stationed at different spots. Most of the time, though, let's see. Yeah, here's the Bluff City Blues website. They normally do a really good job at this one about taking pictures and videos and stuff. And what I'm going to say, since we've had a little bit, Joe's pulled a lot up that we can see and that you can see on Zoom. This is a Bluff City Blues, just on different angles at different pit stops. But I would encourage you to look on the Delta Amateur Radio Club YouTube channel. So Steve Steve went and put a lot of videos on there of that event. And then there's also pictures and videos on the Delta Amateur Radio Club Facebook page. I know in the past issues of Sparks, we put pictures up through there. So if you're interested, I would say reach out to somebody, or if you want to reach out to me and email me, I can get you in touch with somebody who's been involved with different races if you want to know. I don't know, any questions? I mean, that's kind of a little more. I know a lot of you guys have already done these races and you know what to expect. So this is kind of old news, but you know.
Somebody do decide later when you go and want to hunt the bus, I bet you'd be sitting next to somebody that's probably done it.
Yeah, and I know, you know, a lot of times we won't put much emphasis on recruiting new folks, but you know, now that we're kind of getting out of COVID, a lot of these events are starting to pick up again, and so there's some folks who aren't going to be able to get back out and volunteer with us. So we are going to need some new folks to step up and volunteer. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we're typically there I referred to this earlier, at the different stations, they'll have different cutoff times. Some of the stations will end as early as 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning, and that's it, you're done for the day. Other stations, it might be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then of course, net control, you're there till the last guy comes in, typically. So I think the latest that we've worked a race for that, was probably 4:30, give or take. But most of the race directors, you'll get to, if you get involved with these events pretty frequently, most of the race directors you'll get to know. And a lot of them, they try to be very strict, because what we don't want to do is close down stations early when all the runners or riders have not come through there yet, and then that's when you get to start to lose track. It takes, it's not hard to do, but it does require us to make sure that we pay attention when we're out there, no matter whether you're net control, whether you're in a SAG vehicle, supplying gear, whether you're working at one of the stations. We always try to keep up with, especially when it gets to the end, which runners or riders that we're missing that haven't crossed the finish line yet. And we kind of look out for those bid numbers. And it's a lot of communication back and forth. It's really good practice. And if you have any interest at all, it's a lot of fun. And, if that's not enough, they typically feed you and give you adult beverages after or whatever. So, any questions about Bluff City Blues or MS 150 or any of the races that we help with?
Can't join it, but you're interested in it, try to see if you can listen to it.
Yeah. So that's a great point. So Steve said, a good something, and we've had quite a few folks do this. If you can't make it out, but you've got a little time on your hands and you can hit the repeater that we're using, because we will advertise that in Sparks during the meeting whenever whenever we pick a repeater for that. Listen in. Kind of like the Nets, the night of the Nets. And when you first get started, you're not really sure what to do, but if you're listening in, then eventually you kind of get a feel for how everything goes, and it gives you a good idea for what to expect as well. Of course, there's no better experience than in person, but yeah, that's a good point. Let's see, we've got a couple. All right, and then we'll get more information out about the Swamp Stompers. Let's see. I think that's all. There's some other stuff, but all right. Any questions about anything? Again, if you're interested in either the MS 150 or the Bluff City Blues ride, and you're on Zoom, post your phone number and name. And then if you're in person, either see Daryl or find the sign-up sheet up front.
I got Paul Broom, Kevin KX4MI or KY4MI, and Jen KX4YG for signing up. Kevin's only on Sunday.
Do you mind emailing that list?
I'll email.
Or me or whoever is, depending on what race they want to help with. All right, well, is there anything else that we need to cover before we adjourn?
Question about the ARES.
Oh, Aries, what's your question?
Thank you. Gary Kim, 4th Energy White. And the question is, I attended an ARES meeting somewhere Baptist.
Yeah.
A couple, 3 years ago. Are they meeting again? Are they still meeting?
So I'll let, is John, I can answer it, but is John Reiner still on? Yeah, we've been on Zoom for now.
Yeah, I'm still on. I couldn't hear the question.
He'll send it out a day or two before. Do you get the Aries link on in an email at all? Okay. Your email is what? kn4bvh@comcast.net.
Yes, that's correct.
I'll write it down and give it to you. So yeah, because Aries, because he was asking about Aries. Aries is meeting only on Zoom right now. So Because I think with the, which, Joe, MedMersNet, what frequency is that currently meeting on?
It'll be on 146,625 unless the 443,700 is up on by Wednesday at noon.
So MedMers, if you're interested, every Wednesday at noon on that frequency for now, and then the AriesNet is 9 o'clock on Thursday night, and that is already on the 146.625
No,
frequency.
Aries 14685.
14685. 14685. I apologize. Thank you. So. Yeah, so Mike reminded us the updated frequency list is on the website, deltaclub.org. So feel free to log on deltaclub.org, and it should be off on the side that I think it says repeaters and stuff to have, and it's got frequencies and nets. Now keep in mind, again, the nets that are listed on there might be on the 625 frequency if it says the 820. 146.820, but other than that, that gives you an example of the times that the nets are meeting and all that. So you just have to check it out. All right, great question. Any other questions? Comments? Okay, well, appreciate everybody's patience with the technology tonight. So we were doing pretty well until we tried to do too much on here, but I guess that's technology. So if there's nothing else at 8:20, we'll stand adjourned.